Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're diving into Jose Rizal's Noli Me Tangere.
Oh, a classic.
It is.
Yeah.
But we're going kind of deeper into a character a lot of people overlook,
Okay, who are we talking about?
the senior Sakristan. And get this, he doesn't even have a name in the book.
That's interesting. Makes you wonder why Rizal did that.
Right, like is he trying to tell us this guy stands for something bigger, a whole type of person in the Philippines back then?
Yeah, I can see that. It's like he's more a symbol than just a regular character.
Exactly. We all remember Ibarra and Maria Clara, all that drama.
Yeah.
But Rizal keeps bringing up this sacristan, especially when he's describing these super detailed religious processions.
Oh, those were huge back then. Not just like a pretty parade. They were real displays of power. Think about it.
Okay.
Living in a world where the church is like everywhere, not just Sunday Mass, but like running things, even the government sometimes.
Whoa, so you're saying the local priest could be more powerful than the mayor?
Totally. It happened all the time. Remember that scene in the book
Which one?
where Padre Salvi's leading the procession for the Virgin Mary?
Oh, yeah.
And his coat, it's like falling all gracefully and elegantly.
Yeah, I remember.
And he just walks right past Ibarra and Maria Clara like they're not even there. What do you think Rizal's doing there?
He's definitely not making Padre Salvi look like a humble, holy man, is he? It's more like he's showing how vain Salvi is, loving being the center of attention.
Exactly. And that scene, it helps us understand the sacristan, too. You know how Rizal describes him fussing over Salvi, making sure he's comfy?
Right, like Salvi's some kind of king or something.
Totally, like royalty.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
But what's that got to do with the sacristan? I mean, he's just a sacristan.
Ah, but that's where it gets interesting. This guy, no name, but he shows us how power worked inside the church, you know?
Right.
Like a hierarchy within a hierarchy.
Okay, I think I get that.
We got to remember these coadjutors, like the sacristan. They collected taxes, enforced the church's rules. They were basically like the friar's muscle.
Wait, coadjutors? What are those again?
Oh, sorry, sometimes I forget. Not everyone's a history nerd like me. They were like assistants to the priests, but they had a lot of power, you know? Like the friar's right-hand man, making sure things got done.
Okay, got it. So this sacristan, he's not just lighting candles. He's part of the system, enforcing the church's will.
Yeah, and maybe enjoying being close to the power, you know, with Padre Salvi.
That makes me wonder, is he just super religious, or is there something more going on? Like, is he ambitious, wants to climb the ladder in the church, or is he kind of trapped by the system too?
Now, that's a great question. But to really get that, we got to look beyond just the book itself.
You mean like what life was actually like for Filipinos back then, when the church had so much power?
Exactly. We need to understand his world, where the church wasn't just religion, it was politics, economics, everything. Filipinos had to figure out how to live in that, which wasn't always easy.
Okay, I'm ready to get into that. Let's dive in.
Let's do it. All right, so picture this. You're a Filipino living in the 1800s. The church, it's like a huge part of your life, right?
Yeah, okay, you can't really avoid it.
But it's not just about prayers and all that. The church, they control a lot of land, have tons of money. And the friars, they're acting more like landlords than priests a lot of the time.
Wait, so they're collecting rent and taxes on top of everything else?
Yeah.
That's a lot of power for one group.
You got it. And this whole setup where Filipinos had to like work for and give stuff to Spanish officials, it was called the encomienda system. Not exactly fair, you know?
No, not at all.
Bruh.
Makes that scene with Padre Salvi even worse, huh?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just him being rude, it's a whole power thing.
Exactly. And our sacristan, he fits right into that. He's not just being devoted to Salvi, he's showing how that power works, you know, playing his part.
Right, right.
Remember how Rizal describes it? The sacristan regaling the curate's nostrils with incense? Like he's really into being the servant to this powerful guy.
It's almost like he's bought into the whole thing, even if it's not good for him in the end.
And that's what Rizal's so good at, making us think about how power works, even in small ways. How people end up going along with stuff that's not right.
But hold on, if the church was so powerful, did anyone ever push back? Did Filipinos just accept all this?
Good question. History shows us Filipinos weren't just sitting around. They rebelled a lot during Spanish rule. A lot of it was about this unfair economic stuff we're talking about.
So they fought back against the friars, the encomienda system, all that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They weren't going to just take it. Some revolts were small, local things. Others were a real threat to the Spanish.
Wow, so things were pretty tense under the surface. Even though Rizal doesn't show these revolts directly in Noli Me Tangere, you can feel that anger, like something's going to explode.
Totally. And our sacristan, he becomes like a mini version of all this. He's got these mixed up feelings, loyal to Salvi, but also maybe resentful, like a lot of Filipinos, caught between wanting change and being afraid of what'll happen if they fight back.
Yeah, I see that. So this small character, he helps us understand the whole book, even Philippine history. But I gotta ask, why doesn't he have a name?
You're getting to the core of it. Remember we said he's like representing something bigger. By not giving him a name, Riesel makes him an archetype.
Archetype. That's a fancy word. Can you explain it like I'm 5?
Sure, it's like a blueprint for a certain type of character. Like the hero is always brave, right? Well, the sacristan, he's the complicit individual, someone who helps a bad system keep going, even if they maybe don't totally agree with it.
Okay, that makes sense. So Riesel's using fiction to say something bigger about power and how societies work. But did he think people like the sacristan could ever change things? Could they break free from this messed up system?
That's the question we're going to tackle as we keep diving deeper.
So we've talked about the sacristan, how the church worked back then, even Filipinos fighting back. But what was Riesel really trying to say with all this? Like, what's the takeaway?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? And Riesel, he was a smart guy. He kind of leaves it open for us to decide. But thinking about the sacristan and all that, I think Riesel was worried about what colonialism did to people, you know? Especially the ones who went along with it.
So like a warning. He's saying, watch out. You could become part of a bad system without even realizing it.
Yeah, exactly. Remember how the sacristan loved being close to Padre Salvi, acting like he was famous or something? Riesel's showing us how power can be tempting even if you're not the one in charge.
It's like anyone can get caught up in it, even a regular sacristan. They end up helping a system that hurts people.
And that's something we still see today, right? Maybe not friars and all that, but there are still systems that need people to stay quiet and obey.
Yeah, it's easy to just go along with things, follow the rules, even when something feels wrong.
Right. But that's where Riesel's hope comes in, I think. He doesn't just show us the bad stuff. He shows us Filipinos rebelling, fighting
Yeah.
for change.
Oh yeah, like those revolts. Even though they're not in the book, you can feel that energy that people want something different.
Exactly. And I think Riesel believed education, thinking for yourself, talking about these things, that's how you break free from bad systems.
So Noli Me Tangere wasn't just a story, it was like a call to action.
Totally. And it was risky. The book was banned in the Philippines when it came out, but that made it even stronger, like a symbol for people who wanted freedom.
So even if the sacristan didn't find his own way out, Riesel was showing other people how to change things.
Yeah, and that's what makes that little character so important. He's like the first step, realizing something's wrong. And once you realize that, you can start making things better.
It's amazing how much one character can teach us, even without a name. Like Riesel saying everyone's story matters, everyone's part of history.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of books, right? They let us see the world in new ways, understand people who are different, question what we believe.
Well, I think we did some serious deep diving today.
Yeah.
Thanks to you for explaining all this.
Happy to be here. And to all you listeners, thanks for joining us.
And remember, next time you read a book or even just walk around, pay attention. You never know what amazing stories are hiding right in front of you. Until next time, happy deep diving.